Silently I step up with a subversive subtext, trying to feed the need for more than just remedial subjects, place my faith in the belief that the general public will open up their minds to more than just an industry puppet. I ain't a preacher preaching doom and gloom, or not just yet, but if there's something I feel strongly about, then I'll discuss it, and if I only make one album before I kick the bucket, I'll hold that album to my heart and my grave and say, fuck it. Waiting for the beat to kick in, but it never does. Waiting for my feet to grow wings that lift me above all of these tiresome things that we know and love. Waiting for the beat to kick in, but it never does. Waiting for the beat to kick in, but it never does. Waiting for my feet to grow wings that lift me above all of these tiresome things that we know and love. Waiting for the beat to kick in, but it never does. A lot of my poems and writing seem to start with me waking up or being in a dream or dreamlike state. Now, this implies a certain level of abstraction in my work. You might say I'm keeping it surreal, but I'd rather you didn't. Fact is, I sleep a lot. It's as simple as that. I like sleeping, man. It's a nice place to be. Right. I was walking along through unfamiliar streets and it felt strange because there didn't seem to be anyone else around. I didn't know where I was, but I had a feeling of New York, but not New York in real life, the New York you see in old films. Can't really explain why, it just had that vibe. Every step I took felt somehow more dramatic. So I kept walking, and down an alley behind a bar sitting on some metal steps I saw a man. From the look and smell of him, it was clear that he enjoyed a drink, but he was in such a state I felt him to be any kind of a rational threat, so I approached him with due care. "Ah, Mr. Pip," he said out loud, "we've been awaiting you. My name is Elwood P. Down." Now, just what he meant by "we" I didn't really get, but all the same I took a seat next to him on the step. He said, "You'll meet a few people before this day is through. We'll administer advice and guidelines to you. Now, what each of them says I'll tell you now is true, but whether or not you take this advice is for you to choose." At that point he acted as someone had whispered in his ear, which, since no one else was there, was pretty damn weird. Awkwardly I looked away and kind of played with my beard, and he cleared his throat for a second and said, "Listen here. In this life you can be oh so smart or oh so pleasant. For years I was smart. I recommend pleasant. Being smart can make you rich and bring respect and reverence, but the rewards of being pleasant are far more incandescent." With this information I was encouraged to walk on, and continued alone through these empty streets, thinking over what Elwood had said, but at the same time thinking about how fucking strange the day had been so far. I was in my own little world when a hand was placed on my chest and a guy said, "Look out, there's some broken glass on the floor there." I looked up. He said, "Hi, pleased to meet you. My name is Lloyd Dobler. I'll get straight to the point. Won't take too much time from you. I'm probably the youngest person you'll get advice from today, and you may think that a guy my age wouldn't have anything to say, but it's said that observation, not old age, brings wisdom, and I observe every single life lesson I'm given. I won't attempt to tell you how to love or be loved, because you get a different genie each time that lantern is rubbed. But I will offer you some advice on dealing with life, its ups and its downs, its troubles and its strifes. Now, I'm sure you've had times when you felt down or angry, wanted to lash out, punch a wall and be manly. But the question I pose now will offer you a plan B, and maybe some peace and quiet for your friends and family. How hard is it to decide to be in a good mood and then just be in a good mood? That's all I have to say, because it's a straight up fact. You control your emotions, it's as simple as that. He walked off then, leaving me to contemplate this brief encounter. I barely had time to realise I was being taught something before he was gone, and I was back on my way. On I walked, and almost immediately I spotted the next guy, and it couldn't be clearer. This guy was standing on the street corner and pacing back and forth, skinny-looking guy, leather jacket, tight jeans, retro look. Rarely seen someone look quite so uncomfortable in their own skin, twitching, smoothing his hair back on the floor and looking up and down the street. He clearly didn't enjoy waiting around, so I approached him quickly to put him out of his misery and let him start his spiel. "Hi, my name is Billy Brown. I ain't going to give you some quote. Instead, I'm going to use some stuff that you wrote. Always had the feeling I could never be the villain, because the villain in the books is always backlit. Always had the feeling I could never be the villain, because the villain in the books is always backlit. Now I find it pleasing to defend myself with reason, but this clock is always sitting on my back, tick, tick, tick. Then, no explosion, but persistence brings erosion, like a picture overly exposed and like a fox that's been run over in the road." Basically what I'm trying to say to you is you don't achieve anything by letting the past rule within you. You get all pent up and angry about stuff. It just eats away inside you. What's that other line of yours? If you can't forgive and forget, how's this? Forget, forgiven, and just accept, and that's it. See, that's how it's got to be. Then you can fall in love, get on with your life, and be free. Almost before he could finish the sentence, he was off down the street, hands in his pockets, hurrying away. Now, quite accepting the totally surreal time I was having, I rounded a corner and continued on to my next encounter. Resigned to the fact this was some kind of dream or hallucination, I made my way through the now dark street to the one window that had a light on. I walked through the unlocked door, which incidentally had blinds down and a silhouetted figure like a film noir scene, but sadly no sign saying private eye. As I entered, a voice promptly said, "This journey's almost over. I'm the only one left. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Walter Nett. The other guys have taught you things of great positive worth, but I'm afraid I'm here to bring you back down to earth. See, you can live your life in control and be nice, but even that will not promise you a happy life. You may think yourself in general to be a nice guy, but I'm telling you now, that right there is a lie. Even the nicest of guys has some nasty within them. You don't have to be backlit to be the villain. Whether it be greed, lust, or just plain vindictiveness, there's a level of malevolence inside of all of us. You can paint yourself an image and live in your own little dream, but this ain't a dream. It's one big silver screen. So when you think you've got your happy ending, don't ever forget it ain't over till you hear the sound of end credits. You'll be waiting for the beat to kick in, but it never does. Waiting for your feet to grow wings to lift you above all of these tiresome things that you know and love. Waiting for the beat to kick in, but it never does. Waiting for the beat to kick in, but it never does. Waiting for your feet to grow wings to lift you above all of these tiresome things that you know and love. Waiting for the beat to kick in, but it never does.